Day 135 of running a mile every single day. I just got back. It is 11:35 p.m. and I feel great. If you want to change your life wildly, then take on the Daily Mile Challenge. It's 10 minutes a day at most. You gotta put on your shoes and go out for a run. It has prepared me to take on any challenge that I face in this life because it's a daily commitment to myself to show up and just do 1 mile, something that after high school, most people will never do for the rest of their life, right? And I'm doing that every single day. So it's that mountain of confidence that, I'm at least showing up for myself every single day. Regardless, I'm running, and every single night I face this issue, right? Now, I have to start running earlier so that I no longer face this issue. And I have to start running earlier so it's better for my health, because it's probably not good to go to bed right after running a mile. I understand. I'm not perfect. Regardless, the issue that I face every night when I run is that I'll be filming the Instagram story. I've got the flash on in my eyes, and I'm not able to look down and see the path. So I always kind of look off to the side of the camera and I see this telephone pole in front of me. And so I base my route on that. As long as that telephone pole stays right ahead of me, I'm running on the sidewalk, and so I should be good, right? Now the problem with this is that since I can't see the path, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused or a little bit fearful, that I'm going to step off the path and roll my ankle, right? And so this experience reminded me of a fundamental truth. We're back at it with extraction, or with noticing things from your day-to-day life, right? If you can't see the path, you should only expect to be fearful of falling off. You should only be fearful of confusion. You should only expect confusion, right? So if you haven't taken the time to visualize the path that will get you to where you want to go, then of course you're going to be anxious. Of course you're going to be fearful, confused. You're going to not understand which opportunities actually are beneficial to you, right? So take the time to understand the path. It all comes back to the vision. Understand where you're trying to go. Develop a vision for your life that would be the best possible thing you could commit to. That way you have the motivation every single day to get out and move towards it, because it's the best thing that you could do with your life, that you want to do with your life. Then move towards it by figuring out the steps that will get you to that spot, Develop a vision and move towards it on that path by understanding the path. And if you understand the path, then you don't have to be fearful of falling off. You know what steps you have to take. So if you don't take those steps, or that's really it. If you don't take the proper steps, you'll fall off. There's no fear there. There's certainty. I know exactly what I have to do to make this thing happen. I'm running a marathon in all 50 states this year. I have to stretch, get adequate sleep, eat, train every single day, stay hydrated during the race, and fuel myself during the race, then stretch after, and it's a never-ending cycle, right? If I do these things and I book marathons ahead of time, that way they're not sold out, find my flights about 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time so I get the best price, find a hostel about a week out, and reach out to different podcasts in the future. Right now I don't have to worry about that because I don't really have a ton of views coming in yet, but we'll get there eventually. We're only 5 marathons in, right? These are the steps that I have to take to make a successful trip, or a successful attempt at running a marathon in all 50 states. That's it. I understand the steps. And so then today, when I'm emailing people and I see that there's the Maryland, I think it was Maryland, whatever it was, one of the marathons was sold out, then I have to understand that falls on me. There's no fear. I don't have to fear that, I've fallen off the path, because I know I haven't taken the adequate steps because I didn't email ahead of time. So what did I do? Well, tonight I started emailing. I sent a lot of emails, and I need to finish out that list. That way I know as a certain step I've taken the necessary action for the first step on all these marathons, asking if I can run at a discount or even for free in some cases, because I'm doing this all self-funded, right? A lot of people are receptive to that idea, that I'm 22 years old and I'm trying to go out there and do the 50 States Marathon Challenge in 1 year. The race director for Mississippi had ran all 50 states by the time he was in his 40s or 50s. It took him several years to do it. And he said, the fact that you're doing that by yourself is like in 1 year is incredible. And so he gave me, it was only $40 instead of $110. That's a pretty big drop in price, right? That saves me a lot of money, especially for 50 marathons. 50 times $70, that's $3,500. If I had a $70 discount on every single marathon, that's $3,500 that I wouldn't have spent, or that I would have spent that I get to save. So these, not only does understanding the path help you have certainty and avoid confusion, avoid fear, anxiety, all these different things, but as well, it allows you to do the path more efficiently, right? Imagine that you have like all the steps planned out to get through. Like, the thing that's popping up in my mind is this video on Instagram. There's like this metal pyramid of like all these pillars, right? And they're all kind of like angled, but they're separate. So it looks like a pyramid shape, but they're all individual columns that are progressively taller and then shorter. You see what I mean? Well, this guy, this parkour, influencer, runs up it, gets to the top, and then runs back down. He can see the steps on this path. It's the shape of a pyramid, so a lot of people, if they did that, wouldn't be as skilled, as adept at his ability to bounce from one to the next. He can see those steps and move up the path to get to the top. A lot of people would take that step and would fall into the abyss. Maybe because they weren't looking, maybe because they weren't skilled enough, whatever the reason is. But he knows exactly what steps he's going to take. And that's a pretty, out there example, but you get the point. If you have the path in mind, it's so much easier. Life is almost on autopilot at that point. And so then you got to figure out the path. That's it. You got to take the time to figure out the path. What would get me to where I want to go? What actions are necessary to get me to where I want to go? And that's a start. A lot of the stuff is going to be fluff. You're still going to have to go through it. You didn't necessarily have to do it, but there's like politics or whatever the reason is that you have to walk through those different moments. But at least you know that I'm doing the necessary actions, and these are, not necessarily necessary, but I'm still going to do them, right? You have the confidence so that you're taking the necessary steps. So then you can move forward. For example, I have these conversations after races. Are those necessary? No, but I'm getting to meet some interesting people. And so then, yes, in a way they're fun. They're opening the door. They're allowing me to fully enjoy this. It's like salt on steak. Steak is good by itself, but it's not that great, You gotta salt the steak, you gotta add spices, and it makes it that much better. So the necessary thing, you need your protein. You eat the steak, but the spices make it go down a lot easier, right? The marathon challenge, 50 States Marathon Challenge, is so much easier when I know the things I have to do. I got to be stretching, running, all these different things. But then I also get to enjoy the series with all the people that I meet along the way. Even though it's not necessary to meet them, it still is allowing me to fully enjoy and take in this experience. So yeah, that's the wisdom for today is you should only expect to be confused if you don't know the path. So figure out the path, avoid confusion, avoid anxiety and fear. Move with confidence that every step you're taking is the appropriate step to move towards this vision that you have for your life. Then you have the ultimate confidence that you've taken the necessary steps in the past, you're currently taking the necessary steps, and that you're not going to waste time in the future moving towards this goal for your life. And that's a massive, massive source of confidence in your life that will propel you forward. It's all you need really, is to know that the things I'm doing today actually mean something. So I'm going to keep doing the things that mean something, because I look back on my life and I see that I've done the necessary work and that it's borne fruit to me. And so now I can enjoy the fruits of my labor, knowing that I earned this. Yeah, it's a good feeling. That final race in Hawaii in December is just going to be incredible. I don't care if no one has watched my TikToks up until that point. I got that confidence that I set out to do something great and actually accomplished it. So how many times do I have to do that to have a lasting impression that reaches all corners of the earth? Could I be the next Chuck Norris? Wyatt Moss, the guy who did XYZ. It's like, yeah, he does some crazy stuff. I wouldn't doubt it, that he did XYZ. Even though he never did it, it's something that he would do, right? That's the reputation that I want. Not to have, I've said this before, I'll say it again, not to have my name carry, right? Not to be famous. I could care less about these things. I'll do this for the rest of my life if I have 0 people watching. I do this, number one, to glorify God. That's it. I could leave it there, right? On top of that, I find it interesting. And this is who I am. This is who I've defined myself as. Wyatt Moss is the guy that does the most wild things that you've ever heard of in your life. He rode a penny farthing from California to Nashville, Tennessee, fell off, broke his left wrist, fractured his right one, and still managed to somehow build 23 tables in 5 days. No, 38 tables in 5 days. Like, the whole sequence of events that happened last summer was just absolutely wild. And most of the world will never know what went down. But that is my story, and that's the mountain of confidence that I have. When I talk about the mountain of confidence, it's the actions that I've taken in the past that have shown me what I'm capable of, who I truly am. This is the story of Wyatt Moss that I forecast over my life and started to act on, one trip at a time. And so I see the path, I take the necessary steps, and I have the confidence every day that I'm doing the things that actually matter. So I have the fulfillment at the end of the day, that feeling of fulfillment that allows me to get a good night's sleep and wake up tomorrow to do the exact same thing over again. That's everything. Expect the expected. Why not us?